Here are 10 signs that your partner is too proud in love. Mark is the fullest of himself of anyone I know. He likes to talk about himself and what he has done, but he is also quick to say bad things about other people. He is always bringing up other people's names to make himself seem more important than he is. When he called me excitedly on a wet Friday afternoon to ask me to drink so I could meet Ruby, the love of his life, I was skeptical because I knew he liked to date a lot of different people. Still, I was interested enough to want to meet her. The first time I saw them together, I'll never forget. She was gorgeous, and he was, well, Mark. He had his arm around her and was talking loudly about a party they went to the night before. She smiled and laughed nicely, but I could tell she was uncomfortable. It was clear that he was trying to impress her and show her off, but it was also clear that she wasn't really into it. I was curious about why she was with him. I saw them together more and more over the next few months. The more I saw them together, the more I realized that he was just trying to love her. He was trying to look good by using her. When you date someone full of themselves in love, it can be stressful. Here are 9 signs that your partner might be too full of himself or herself for you. Here are 9 ways to tell if your partner is full of himself or herself in love. 1. They always mention famous people. If your partner can't stop talking about how many popular or rich people they know, that's a sign that they're full of themselves. They are trying to impress you by mentioning famous people and making themselves seem more important than they are. Mark is always mentioning other people. He loves to talk about the rich and famous people he knows. He is trying to impress you by mentioning famous people and making himself seem more important than he is. When he started dating Ruby, this didn't change. April Massini, an expert on relationships, says, "Pretentious people are always trying to be better than you. They do this by dropping names and telling you who they know, where they've been, and what they've done." 2. They boast a lot. If your partner can't stop talking about what they've done, that's a sign they're full of themselves. By talking, they want to make themselves look better than they are. Mark loves to talk about what he has done. He talks about how great he is and how much money he makes all the time. When he started dating Ruby, this got worse. He also made all the women in his life feel bad about themselves because they couldn't find treasures like him until Ruby came along. Jennifer B. Rhodes, a relationship expert, says, "Pretentious people always try to impress you with what they've done or what they have. They may brag about their job, their car, their house, their clothes, or anything else they think will make them look good." 3. They kept putting other people down. Your partner is arrogant if they are always putting other people down. They are trying to look better by making other people feel bad about themselves. Mark is always putting people down. He is always quick to point out what's wrong with other people. When he began dating Ruby, this became even more clear. He often put her down and made her feel bad about herself because she didn't have his perfect life. Jonathan Bennett, a relationship expert, says, "People who are full of themselves often put others down to feel better about themselves." If your partner is always saying that other people are stupid, ugly, or losers, it's likely that they're full of themselves. 4. They think they are more important than they are. Your partner is pompous if they think they're more important than they are. They think they are better than everyone else and expect to be treated differently. Mark thinks he is more important than he is. He thinks that he is better than everyone else and wants to be treated differently. When he started dating Ruby, this became very clear. He would often want all of her care and time, and if she didn't give it to him, he would get angry. Pretentious people tend to think they are better than other people, says relationship expert Scott Carville. Your partner is probably pretentious if they always want to be treated like a VIP or put on a throne. 5. They try to look like they're perfect. It's a sign that your partner is arrogant if they're always trying to impress you on the surface. They want you to think they're perfect, and they'll do anything to make sure you do. Mark is always trying to make it look like he is the most perfect person who has ever lived. He goes to a lot of trouble to make sure everyone thinks he is perfect in every way. When he started dating Ruby, this became very clear. Pretentious people are always trying to act like they are perfect, and that makes them better than you, says relationship expert April Massini. 6. They put on a show all the time. If your partner is always putting on a show, it means they are full of themselves. They want you to think they're perfect, and they'll do anything to make sure you do. Mark puts on a show all the time. He wants you to think he's perfect, and he'll do anything to make sure you do. When he started dating Ruby, this became very clear. To please her, he would often act like someone else when they were together. April Massini, a relationship expert, says, people who are always putting on a show are pretentious. They want you to think they're perfect, and they'll go out of their way to make sure you do. 7. They always try to do better than you. If your partner is always trying to be better than you, that's a sign that they're full of themselves. They want to look better by making you feel bad about yourself. Mark is always trying to beat people. He is quick to say how much better he is than everyone else. When he began dating Ruby, this became even more clear. He often put her down and made her feel bad about herself because she didn't have his perfect life. Jonathan Bennett, a relationship expert, says, people who are full of themselves often put others down to feel better about themselves. If your partner is always trying to outdo you, they usually think they are better than you. 8. They love to act like something they're not. People with a lot of pride like to put on a show. They're always trying to impress you, and they'll do anything to make sure you think they're perfect. Mark loves to act like he's someone else. He always acts like someone else around Ruby because he wants to impress her. This was especially clear when he pretended to like the same things she did. Pretentious people tend to put on a front, says relationship expert Scott Carville. If your partner is always trying to be someone they're not, they're probably arrogant. 9. They act in a way that is selfish gaslighting. People with a lot of pride often act in selfish and gaslighting ways. They want you to think they're perfect, and they'll do anything to make you think that. Mark acts like a snob and tries to gaslight people. He will go out of his way to make Ruby doubt herself so she will think he's wonderful. This was particularly clear when he ignored her or made her feel like she was crazy for thinking certain things about him. Jonathan Bennett, a relationship expert, says, pretentious people are often narcissists who use gaslighting to control other people. If your partner is always putting you down or making you question yourself, they are probably full of themselves. 10. They feel like they deserve it. Pretentious people often feel like they deserve something. They think they are better than everyone else and expect to be treated differently. Mark thinks he should get what he wants. He thinks he's better than Ruby and wants her to treat him like a king. This was especially clear when he got mad at her for not doing things his way or for not living up to his overly high standards. April Massini, a relationship expert, says, people who are pretentious often feel like they deserve something. They think they are better than everyone else and expect to be treated that way. If your partner does any of these things, it might be time to think about ending the relationship. Being too proud is a big warning sign that you shouldn't ignore. On the other hand, you should pay attention to these green signs. In the end, it's not too far-fetched to say that you'll know when you're in love. You'll know for sure. Believe in the process. Stay away from people who are too proud in love. They'll break your heart and leave you to put the pieces back together.